very strange when one day you're Cinderella, so to speak, and then in 0.6 seconds you're Quasimodo.
It's Johnny Depp talking about what has happened to him in Hollywood. What he says is a direct result of an op-ed piece written by his ex, Amber Heard, in the Washington Post. He says that ever since she made allegations of domestic violence, even though he wasn't specifically named, that his career has been over. Here is more of what Johnny Depp said on the witness stand today.
Her accusations had sort of permeated the industry and then made its way through media and social media, became quite a global let's say, quote unquote, fact.
Let's bring back in Law and Crime's Jesse Weber and Anjanette Levy. So this goes, Anjanette, to the issue of the damages, right? He's basically saying that this article entirely ruined his career.
And I thought it was interesting, as Jesse mentioned earlier, that he didn't talk about the article. He talked about the 2016 stuff when she went to court with the mark on her face and requested the restraining order. And it sounds like it all stemmed from there. And then, you know, the article isn't even mentioned in the testimony. It sounds like he's trying to say, even from back then in 2016, when she sought the restraining order, things started to go south right away. You know, I don't know. We've heard some conflicting testimony. It sounded like there were some issues with him showing up late to set and things like that on the Pirates of the Caribbean 5, and that it was causing issues.
Yeah, and that seems to be something that many people in Hollywood agree on, that there were problems. But, you know, his response would be, yeah, a lot of actors have problems on the set, but if you're a big star, you get to act like a prima donna. Unless you're a big star with a domestic violence allegation against you.
Or Cinderella.
Yes, or Cinderella. Jesse Weber, I want to play another piece of sound. I want to ask you about the significance of this. Johnny Depp talked a lot about his mother and the abuse that he endured. This is number 9. Let's play this, and then I want to ask you about its significance.
There's physical violence, of course. There's physical abuse. To which she was, that was a constant. That was just a constant, you know. We were all somewhat shell-shocked, you know. Even if she just walked past us, you'd sort of shield yourself because you didn't know what was going to happen.
Jesse Weber, what's the significance in the context of the case?
There are two things to really take apart from that. Number one, he's no stranger to abuse himself. So if he claims Amber Heard abused him, he's going to be the type of person who would walk away. He's the type of person who would really experience this and understands it and wouldn't engage in it himself. He wouldn't engage in the cycle of abuse that he's been a part of. But more importantly, substitute his mother for Amber Heard. And he's basically saying he's the abused man who can walk away, who can leave and do this. And he's basically saying that, you know, I know what this is about, jury. I've been a part of this. I've seen what the detrimental effects of it, and I would never do this to somebody else. In fact, there was a point in his testimony, he said, I know how to raise my kids because I'm going to do the complete opposite of what my parents did. And so this is a lesson that he's trying to tell the jury, that I experienced it, I know it, I'm not like that.
And Jeanette, cross-examination, likely tomorrow. They're going to really go after him, huh?
Oh, I think so. I think they are just Amber Heard. You see her writing notes. She at times throughout his testimony, we have a split screen so we can see them side by side. Looks like she's trying to keep her composure, not become angry. There are some expressions on her face though that she can't hide. So she's constantly passing notes to her lawyers, kind of whispering some things at times during the testimony. So the cross-examination will likely happen tomorrow, but I don't even think we're halfway through direct. I mean, I think we still have a little, quite a bit of direct to go. So it'll be interesting to see how much longer the direct examination goes.
And if you want to watch the trial, you can, of course, go to the Law and Crime Network, either on the app or on cable or on YouTube. And I say that with not 1 ounce of bias. Of course, that's not true. Anjanette Levy and Jesse Weber, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.